the event?
Well, first of all, Brian, before I even get to that, I want to say this. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm the first person who wants to get a story out, be it on TV or radio. And the only reason why I've been quiet is because of a threat of lawsuits. And my attorney said I can speak. But here's the thing. This is not about suppressing the press. My body of work stands for me. And no, I did not order anyone to do anything. At that moment, what you saw was my then bodyguard, who was concerned with my safety, come to me and say, stop talking. They were about 100 feet away from me. I didn't know what was going on or what was said. I was on the stage at the time.
And that's tough when you're on stage and you're not sure what's going on. But why not have cameras at your speeches? What's the problem with having a person videotape your speech?
Well, you know, this was a private event for a nonprofit organization in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Our contract stated that if someone wanted to come and film or if they wanted to interview me, they had to ask for permission. There was no request for permission, and permission was not granted. Now, if they would have asked for permission, it would have been granted. And the reason why I do this, one, it's standard in the industry, and two, because I don't want my words twisted.
And I get that. He says he did have permission. He says he has the documentation. He sent some of that to me.
According to my contract and with the organization, no one asked me for permission.
Do you regret that the bodyguard...
He had asked me if it was asked, yes.
Do you regret that the bodyguard put his hands on this reporter? To me, that's completely inappropriate.
Well, again, my former contracted security personnel thought, I suspect, was concerned for my safety.
So maybe he just overreacted. Are you saying he just overreacted?
Yes.
I remember I was giving...
And in the days after this, we reviewed this. And we decided not to contract with that organization anymore. But again, I believe, in my humble opinion, or I assume, that he was concerned about my safety.
And you have spoken in the past about facing death threats, more than one. Can you tell us if anything more about that? Because I know that's sensitive.
It's a very sensitive situation. I do receive death threats. I continue to receive death threats. The atmosphere around me is charged. And that's one of the reasons why I assume he may have overreacted, because he was concerned for my safety. But it doesn't make you feel good to get a death threat and have to send it to the FBI and local authorities. I'm a person in the community. I have children. I have friends. I have family. It's a tough situation to live under, but I do it. And unfortunately, I have to have bodyguards around me.
Here's what Washington Post's Eric Wemple wrote about this. He said, it's one thing to hire a bodyguard to protect a freedom of press advocate for death threats. It's another thing when the bodyguard undermines freedom of press on behalf of that freedom of press advocate. So what will be different in the future? Will there be something different in the future? It sounds like the bodyguard's no longer working for you, so that's one thing that'll be different.
Mm-hmm. Well, as long as this atmosphere continues, Brian, I'm going to have a bodyguard. But the protocol is that the bodyguard is supposed to be with me. And that was not protocol.
Oh, you mean because he left? Because he left to go allegedly assault the journalist. You're saying he didn't follow the protocol, and that's a problem.
I didn't know what was going on at the time.
Right, and you weren't in the room when he did that out in the hotel lobby.
I was speaking. So, and at the very least, for those real journalists who are saying the things that they're saying, I would hope that there may be a correction for the error that, some of the things have been said.
Isn't it concerning, though, that you're out there speaking privately? That I remember when I was giving a speech at a college and a couple InfoWars reporters showed up and they were asking me a bunch of questions. I just thought the best thing to do was just to talk to them rather than try to ignore them or swat away their camera, because that's not our job. Our job is not to stop people from asking questions. It's to help them ask questions.
Right. And see, that's the issue. If someone asked for permission, I would have granted it. But sometimes your words are twisted by people who don't necessarily understand you or what you're saying, or who have an agenda. And that kind of thing can charge the atmosphere to create hate against me. And death threats. So that is one of the reasons this was a protective measure. But again, we're reassessing a lot of things. My team, we're reassessing a lot of things.
April, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for talking with me.
Thank you so much, Brian.
After the break here, it's been 5 years since the tragic murder of 2 journalists at the hands of ISIS. Today, their families are taking that tragedy